Namaskar kids, it's Partho, your guide to the wonderful world of Panchatantra where adventure meets wisdom. In our last episode, we saw how two friends, Dharm Buddhi and Dusht Buddhi, decided to bury a pot full of gold coins in the forest. But after a few days, one of them dug the pot up and stole all the gold coins. Kids, could you tell me who did that? Dharm Buddhi or Dusht Buddhi? The correct answer is Dusht Buddhi. When their dispute reached the court, Dusht Buddhi asked his father to hide in a tree and be his fake witness. But his father was not happy about this scheme and he advised his son to be cautious of the plan that he devises. In this regard, he told the story of a remedy worse than the disease. Let's dive into today's tale. Once upon a time, in a lush woodland, there was a majestic banyan tree. It was also home to a community of herons within a hidden hollow in its trunk. However, the herons were not the only dwellers in that tree. Right under the tree, in a burrow, lived a black snake. Every now and then, the snake used to feast upon the heron chicks before they could even take their first flight. As the time passed, the snake got more audacious and the herons more helpless. One day, with tears streaming down like a river, a heron stood by a lake, overwhelmed by despair. Witnessing the heron's profound sorrow, a compassionate crab asked, "Dear uncle, why do you weep so bitterly today?" The heron replied in a sad tone, "Oh, my dear friend, what can I say? I am burdened with misfortune. The snake living underneath the banyan tree is devouring all the baby herons recklessly. All I can do is weep. Tell me, is there any way to get rid of this serpent?" The crab, listening to the heron's plight, thought to itself, the herons are natural enemies of us, the crabs. I should offer him an advice that seems helpful, but in fact very harmful. This way, I can get all the herons killed at once." With this devious plan in mind, the crafty crab said to the heron, "Listen, dear uncle, if this is your predicament, then I have a plan. There lives a mongoose in a burrow nearby. You must scatter small pieces of fish from the mongoose's burrow, leading all the way to where the serpent lives. This will create a trail for the mongoose to follow. Once the mongoose tracks down the malevolent serpent, it will put an end to its reign of terror." Trusting the crab's counsel, the heron diligently followed the instructions. As the mongoose followed the trail of fish, it ultimately confronted and vanquished the wicked serpent. But kids, you know what happened next? After killing the snake, the mongoose proceeded to feast on each and every heron that lived on that banyan tree. And so, the wicked crab's trick worked. All the herons were killed. This was the tale of a remedy worse than the disease. After finishing this tale, Dusht Buddhi's father said, the poor heron had a very challenging problem. But sadly, he went for a solution that was indeed worse than the problem itself. That is why I say a wise man should always be cautious about all the expedients. Disregarding his father's warning, Dusht Buddhi decided to hide his father inside the hollow of the mimosa tree the same night. The next morning, as dawn broke, Dusht Buddhi, Dharm Buddhi and the judges went to the mimosa tree. Once they were standing beneath it, Dusht Buddhi raised his voice, making a clear and resounding proclamation. "Sun and moon, fire and wind, heaven and earth, death and the self, day and night and the both twilights. You all watch the round of man's existence and see if it is right. O holy divinity of the woods, which of us two is the thief? Declare it." Suddenly, Dusht Buddhi's father, who had been hidden in the hollow of the mimosa tree, spoke out loudly. "Listen everyone, it was Dharm Buddhi who stole the gold." The judges, taken aback and astonished, began to ponder the appropriate punishment for Dharm Buddhi, who was accused of stealing the treasure. While they contemplated the matter, Dharm Buddhi quietly slipped away. He gathered materials that would readily catch fire. He covered the hollow of the tree with these materials and set them ablaze. As the flames grew strong, Dusht Buddhi's father ran out of the mimosa tree's hollow. He was screaming as his body was partially burned and his vision blurred by smoke. The onlookers were perplexed and they turned their attention to Dharm Buddhi, demanding an explanation for the fiery spectacle. In response, Dharm Buddhi calmly asserted, "It was all Dusht Buddhi's doing, sirs." Caught off guard, Dusht Buddhi accepted his sin and told the truth to the judges. Without delay, the officers of justice apprehended Dusht Buddhi and hanged him from a branch of the same mimosa tree. They commended Dharm Buddhi and rewarded him with numerous royal favors and gifts. This was the story of the fair mind and the wrong mind. Alright kids, let us recap today's video through a few questions. Tell me kids, why did the crab suggest the herons to use the mongoose against the snake? Is it because A. The mongoose was a friend of the crab, B. The crab wanted to get rid of all the herons, or C. He wanted to see the mongoose and the snake fight? Kids, the correct answer is B. The crab considered the herons as his natural enemy and thus wanted to suggest an idea that might eventually get all the herons killed. Moving on with the next question, tell me, what essential lesson did we learn through the story of the poor herons? A. One should not ask for help from the friends. B. One should never go near a mongoose. Or C. One should always think carefully before implementing an idea. The correct answer is C. One should always think very carefully about the consequences of the idea or the strategy that they are going to implement. My last question is, how did Dharm Buddhi manage to deceive everyone and escape the punishment? A. He set fire to the mimosa tree to create a diversion. B. He confessed to his crime and was forgiven. Or C. He blamed Dusht Buddhi for the entire incident. The correct answer is A. He set fire to the mimosa tree to create a diversion. So kids, that's it for this video. We will meet again in the next video with another interesting story. Till then kids, remember, alertness is our friend. If we remain alert and quick-witted, we can get ourselves out of any difficult situation just like Dharm Buddhi. Goodbye kids. Namaskar.